let's jump into the skill that are required to start moving on now, right? Now, if you realize there will be a pace which will change so that you get deeper into the activities which are now getting practical, so that you now, once you get deeper into the whole notion of activities, you're ready to jump to rise 2, right? Where you actually create after you create your planning, you get into creating your assets. Now, for that, such orientations are very important, and please take these things seriously with all the downloads mentioned and whatever has to be thought through. Right? These have to be done very seriously because this is what will determine your plan and so the assets that come out of this. Okay. Now, from a skills perspective, right? The assuming you have the right passion, assuming you have the right skills, you're now getting the education, and now you've started to work hard towards a direction which you're learning for the first time, or you already know, but you're kind of improving your other skills. What you need to know is that the skills that will be requiring going forward will consist of 4 elements. One is the marketing research, sales, the marketing per se from an execution perspective, and the systems to do these for you. Okay, there'll be of course primary and tertiary skills, but what you need to understand is that the assets that are created, right, if they don't go out there, it would be unmeaningful for you to go about going this effort through. What you, however, need to understand is that if you have never done this before, right, it's never later to start now. But do that, it is initially is going to be a hiccup, but I think once you get into the rhythm, everybody does, it moves like a piece of cake. Then it comes naturally to you. Okay, so let's understand what is required to start doing market research, converting into sales, then how you execute the marketing to ensure the sales increases, and the systems to do these things. Okay. Now, again, mind you, each of these things will go again deeper into subsequent steps once you get into digital assets, which is the rise to and so on and so forth. Okay. The first and foremost is customer centricity. What does this mean, right? You have to think like your customer. Why does a customer want your asset, right? If you understand what I mentioned earlier, there are 100 questions, and there's a research that will be coming into play. This is all about that, and we'll get to the templates in the subsequent one. So customer centricity, remember, is all about what the customer wants and what you're enabling him to get from you at a very easy way of doing and giving him the right customer experience to get it. Okay, so that is the first thing. Second is the content that you provide, right? We took the example of an artist. If the artist's work doesn't appeal to that customer that he's appealing for, right, it might not be of any use for that customer as content. Right? And content in this case is not only the asset that you create, but it is also the dialects that you put out there. This could be the blogs that you write, the vlogs that you do in terms of YouTubing or whatever that you do and you used to do, and we teach you all those things as well. There would be the websites that you've created, the content you provide over there. It might be the emails that you write to them and so on and so forth. So that is the kind of content. So copy becomes a very important element of all this, right? And there is of course some detailed courses somewhere down where you will understand how the copy comes about, right, for the right occasions. Now, as you know, the world is all about searches and who finds you when and how, right? So keywords play an important role in all element of things because these are metadata which enables people to find you, right? So how do you do that is again something that we will go through in detail during our digital asset marketing activities. Okay? So that's an important element. And okay, the reasons we are mentioning this at this stage is you will have to get into your groove, right? Start understanding these things and do a read up before that when you're doing the practicals on these things. Okay, when there's a screen playing in front of you and how you use it to your purpose, that's when these are required. And if you don't already know this, you should definitely go back and do some study on this because there are enough YouTubes and Google related searches out there for doing this. This course will practically make you do in a very methodical fashion to get there. Okay, but it's important for you to know what you need to know, and to extent that you should be knowing this to put it practically into play. Okay. The next point in market research is, as a derivation that it's called assets to solve problems. Right? This is typically a derivation of 100 questions that I mentioned earlier. Right? So it's a form of research that you do that will result into you finding the 100 questions that people are asking which are problematic, finding answers to those. That results into uh, your asset that you create is solving their problem, which probably you had faced earlier and you've been able to sort it out in this particular fashion. Now, if you take an example of an artist, right? An artist, as I told you, for example, his courseware that artist would want to make in his part of the world where he's sketching. So when an artist finds out what sort of questions people are asking for sketching during their art process or that art activities that they do, he might derive certain questions and see the problems that people are facing and then try to find that answers. In process of finding those answers, he might create a content out of it, which could be courseware, where you put some methods, a process in play, and a framework to ensure that people learn it in a systematic fashion, so that they can use it into day-to-day use. How this artist would have done it for himself. Okay. So that's the asset to solve problem. Then there are tertiaries, right? There are market awareness and macro and micro scenarios. This is going deeper from the 100 questions, right? And again, if you see, I am going through an overview here. There is a deeper templates that will be passed on to you, which you might have to fill up. You have to do the research and come with these as your outcome of the entire activity. So the market awareness in this case, which is a tertiary of custom centricity, content, keyword, etc., is all about how much you know the market and what is that the market is wanting. That's your 100 questions. Okay. There's a way of doing that. So that is your tertiary as an outcome of all that, where you have customer as focus, content that is providing that input, and the keywords that will be serving to the people that people are looking this for. Okay. Then there's the micro scenario. Now you might realize, again taking a case of an artist, right? There are education institutes which are teaching these courses, right? But they're lacking something out there, and that's why people are joining other classes to do these things. Right? That becomes your micro scenario. So student become your persona of sorts, people you might want to target, because you've done your study on the element where the tertiary, where you are going to a level of school where people are not, in spite of joining a education institute, are not able to get that kind of level of practical outcome. And incidentally, that is also one of our focus areas here, right? We are providing this because I don't see any university providing that practical outcome where people can go out tomorrow in next 3 months and start doing the thing that they're supposed to do to get value worth of their or the income that they can generate from day one. Okay, so this is that. Now, from a sales perspective, right? I'm jumping into the second kind of row. You need to have some video marketing skills. This copy idea I mentioned, copy is very important, and webinar setting skills. Now, you might not have any of these. That's fair. Okay, but these are the ones you need to cultivate in order to get to that level. Okay, and we discussed the novice, the pro, and the whole mastery at doing things. Right? These are part and parcel of that learning. Now, can somebody teach you video marketing? Surely, yes, of course. Why not? Can you do video? You've been doing videos forever, right? Ever since phones were invented. Copy, you're writing emails, you can write a copy. You just have to become better at it. Right? So there's a way of doing that. We'll be teaching you that. And webinar, how you host webinars, how you do webinars. You will be struggling in the beginning, maybe a couple of those, but then you'll become a master. It's a matter of time. It's a first startup mode, right? Then you become so easy with it. It's a mindset game. So again, playing on the mindset still, right? The skills and orientations of the skills and the kind of channelizing and categorizing yourselves. So the tertiary that is out of this is how you connect with all these elements of video marketing, copy, and webinar to emotionally connect with your subjects. Right? This could be your customers, could be your potential customers, or whoever that is. Right? In the process, how you build a rapport with them, right? By giving your stories or giving your inputs or the work that you display or the kind of experience that you're showing across. Then the rapport is built and how they start trusting you. That's why they start coming to you to do things, right? In the case of an artist, if the artist is showing good stuff out there by the virtue of showing video and why and what that art means, how he's been making it, or the copy that he's sending into his email listers, or he's sending just doing blogging out there, and conducting webinar, how that the course that he's created can help the purpose. By virtue of doing all this, there's an emotional connect that's happening at the same time, because he's showing himself there and giving enough spoken words to make them realize that where this guy's coming from. And the process, once you do this repeatedly, a rapport is getting built, because the followers now start trusting you. And that rapport, once converted into a complete trust, it converts into a happy customer, which you keep on serving for the rest of the time that you want them to. Yeah? So that's sales. Again, remember sales as a service, all right? Because once you know that somebody requires this and you're passing it to him, you're forcefully passing it to him, because once you can give, you take a lot. All right? Remember the abundance loop, right? So this is that. Marketing, right? So what we've been talking about has elements of marketing already, right? If you now put that content that you provide with virtue of video marketing, copy, webinar, with the right keywords, custom, all that into play, right? And using strategies to do this, right? By virtue of taking media of videos or a podcast or a blog as a vlogs, etc., right? In a very constructive fashion. For example, you might use a three-pronged strategy for marketing, which would mean that you target a particular customer zone, right, with certain persona, maybe the age group of 30 to 50 who like that art, again taking the art example through, right? You send them these videos, you send them this email list, the content for the first time in form of videos. In YouTube, they might want to respond to you, write to you, they like your work, they don't like your work. In the process, you collect the email list, you send a second mail out, first video, then the email goes out as a second element. That email results into something they say that they would like to see more of you, and then you start sending them the actual digital art in form of a miniature. If they like it, you might tell them that this is where they can buy it, and if they like it, if they want to buy it, they go there and buy it. Simple process. So there's a three-pronged strategy that can work through, right? And there's a follow-up mechanism and so on and so forth. And the media to be used could be any of these that I mentioned. Right? So that way there are various marketing strategies that can be used after you've done your research enough. Okay, so that you're pinpointed, you don't waste your dollars or your Indian rupees or your euros out there to spend so much to acquire your customer who needs you. Right? In the process, you're a giver, you're not really a taker. Right? And if you are a philanthropist, then you rather give it to people who are more needy from a perspective of nourishing them and so on and so forth. But put your passion to play for services for people who require your stuff in the right fashion and pick the right price value that you provide them for. Okay, so that's marketing serves that purpose. Now, to do all this, you require systems. Now, the systems that you do is what we call the PAP, right? It's a blitzscaling, active zone, and so on and so forth. So we will go through that. It's a whole architecture that one goes through. It's easy to connect to your systems. As I told you, it gives you power in your hands to do this automatically, and you can automate it to the extent that you want to, right? It can go to automation to the, you have to be completely away from the system. So you will have to orient your skills towards this, right? And this course will help you do that. Okay. Any questions? We'll meet you in the inner circle to do that, and you can get more feedback. So I hope this was giving you clarity of what kind of skills you will now require going forward. Okay. Now I'll go to the niche in the subsequent ones. I'll see you there.